Chicago wrestling fans, your attention please. Sunday, December 12th in Tinley Park. See Will Ospreay battle Trey Miguel and Blake Christian in a triple threat match. Thunder Rosa tangles with Mercedes Martinez. Dante Martin squares off with Bandito. Rocky Romero, Lucha Libre action, and more live. Meet every star and get their autograph in the Fan Fest. For tickets and more information, visit warriorwrestling.net.
All right, Sean Lennon, host of Pro Wrestling Enforcer. And right now we've got Principal Steve Tortorello joining us here on PWE. Great guest of the show. Of course, if you haven't checked out Warrior Wrestling, it'll be the perfect time to do so. Make sure to check out Warrior Wrestling 17 coming up on December 12th. Tinley Park. It won't be at Marian Catholic for logistical reasons. Me and Steve were just talking about that. And go to warriorwrestling.net for all the information. If you guys consider yourselves a pro wrestling fan, you got to go check out Warrior Wrestling. It's got Will Ospreay, Trey Miguel, Blake Christian in the main event, of course. And, you know, plethora of great matches. And we appreciate you being on the show, as always.
Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate having the time to talk with you. And, yeah, you know, you used a line there that we've used in the past, which is if you consider yourself a wrestling fan, you have got to get there. And that's the truth. You know, we try to lay out shows, and, you know, my co-pilot Eric and I, as we lay out Warrior shows, we want to lay out a show that we would drive to another city to see, a show that you look at and go, wow, I can't miss that. And that is our goal every time out of the gates. Definitely.
And, you know, we recap things, you know, the last Warrior Wrestling, the Sweet 16. How do you think of that show? How it went overall? You had Bret Hart as the special guest.
Yeah, it was a great day. It was a long day because we did that 3-hour Fan Fest with Bret Hart. So between the Fan Fest and the show, it was a long day, but a good day. A lot of great wrestling, a lot of performers who each went out there to try to one-up the match before them, and a lot of different types of action. We saw some, you know, some kickbox shoot style wrestling. We saw some technical wrestling. We saw some tag wrestling, women's wrestling, high flying lucha wrestling. It was really a great mix, and we enjoyed it. We were very happy with the show.
Definitely. Did you get to share a moment with Bret Hart? I know you've been a fan of Bret Hart since you were a kid.
Yeah, you know, I got to talk to him a little bit after he had left the crowd and before he headed out for the evening. I got to talk with him, and just a very kind and very quiet man. Which is so interesting because, you know, he was one of the larger than life heroes of so many of our childhoods. And he's just a very polite Canadian man. And actually one of our good friends on the crew got to take him and his assistant out to dinner later on in the evening. And they just were swapping stories about life. And he said he was just truly down to earth and wonderful. So we luck into having great people all the time. And Bret Hart was no exception.
Definitely. Well, we'll go from there to Warrior Wrestling 17 and talk about putting together another spectacular card. I mean, for wrestling fans, you know, just the main event alone, you got Trey Miguel as the Warrior Wrestling champion. He's coming back after, obviously, a disqualification, you know, that happened in the last title defense against Jonathan Gresham. So if you talk briefly about that, but obviously this match is a once in a lifetime with him, Will Ospreay, Blake Christian. You can never see this anywhere else.
Yeah, so Trey is coming off, as you said, an incredible match with Jonathan Gresham. And Rich and Nick actually argued on commentary whether or not Trey got a pinfall of 3 before Frank the Clown's goons descended on the ring. But we know that Trey held his own with one of the best wrestlers in the world, which is Jonathan Gresham. And now, speaking of best wrestlers in the world, we've got this triple threat where Trey is putting the title on the line against Will Ospreay, the reigning and self-proclaimed still IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and Blake Christian, who was the king of the indies before signing with WWE, impressing in the NXT Breakout Tournament, and then being part of that massive wave of budget cuts. Blake and Will have been talking about a match for years. There's actually supposed to be a Blake versus Will versus Alex Zane match at Joey Janela's Spring Break 2020. It never happened because of COVID. Will and Trey stepped in the ring for the first time together ever at a Warrior Wrestling event in December of 2019 at Warrior 7. Here we are 10 Warrior shows later. And now Trey is the Warrior Wrestling champion. Will is back, and Blake Christian is in the mix. Blake and Trey also had a match at Friday Night Lights, which is the first pandemic show last summer in 2020. So all three of these guys are connected in different ways. And for the first time ever, it's the first time Will's ever facing Blake. It's the first time that we're ever having a triple threat like this. And now again, Trey's the Warrior champion, Will's the New Japan champion. It really is a very high stakes, big time match.
It is. And, I just can imagine, what if Will Ospreay won the title? He would have to come back to Warrior Wrestling to defend it. And, obviously he's hungry for more championship gold. So that's a great scenario for Warrior Wrestling.
Yeah, we've talked about that. What is the what if? He's also the Rev Pro British heavyweight champion, and he competes in Rev Pro and defends that title. So even though he is a New Japan guy and he's going to be headlining the Tokyo Dome on January 5th, if he wins this belt, he's got to come back to Chicago Heights or the Chicago area and defend it for Warrior. So that is a very real possibility.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously Blake Christian, what we saw of him from NXT was just like glimmers of what is a great career to come. Obviously he's been doing so much.
He's truly great. And, WWE, like a lot of those guys, they didn't know what they were cutting when they cut them. And I think that's going to come back to bite WWE in the butt, but their losses are gain. We're thrilled to have Blake back in the fold.
I know. Just imagine, remember Buddy Matthews, how you guys featured him.
Yeah. There are guys that they've cut that are just truly incredible. So if they'll cut them, we'll take them. Definitely.
Well, I think that kind of harkens back to, why Warrior Wrestling is so special. Is these once in a lifetime matches, and you get wrestlers from all different promotions across the globe.
Yeah. Well, that's what, we're trying to be. I've often said that the goal is that Warrior Wrestling is kind of like a train station. All of these different lines from all over the wrestling world cross paths and come here. One train's coming in from New Japan. One is from Impact. One from All Elite. One from AAA in Mexico. One coming out of WWE. And this is the only place where all of those tracks cross. And that makes us pretty special, and we're very proud of that.
Definitely. And, talk also about, other matches on the card that you're excited for.
Well, the whole thing up and down is going to be a blast. There are 8 matches on the card, so it's a little bit smaller than last time around. We really want to give all the matches time to breathe. The semi-main event is the Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez. And talk about a WWE loss being our gain. Mercedes is one of the best wrestlers out there. She's tough as nails. She's a great technical wrestler. Her moves are very crisp and incredible. And of course, Thunder Rosa is on a rocket to the moon right now. She is the hottest and fastest rising women's wrestler in the world, I think. And so you've got 2 women who have faced each other a handful of times throughout their careers, but it's been a while, and they can both absolutely go. So that is going to be very different than the main event, but an incredible match in its own right.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't wait for that one. And Thunder Rosa has been, like you said, she's been on fire lately.
Speaking of on fire, we've got Dante Martin returning, who started with Warrior Wrestling last year in the 2020 Stadium Series and has just since blown up in AEW. He has truly stolen the show every episode of Dynamite or Rampage that he's on. And he is going one-on-one in a first-time ever dream match with somebody else who's in that same category, Bandito. So Dante Martin versus Bandito. When we announced that match, a whole bunch of people tweeted out the gif of minds being blown because it's going to be truly incredible. 2 of the hottest young up-and-comers with generational talent for the first time ever. One is the reigning Ring of Honor World Champion. The other steals the show in AEW, and now they're colliding. Again, where else could that happen except for Warrior Wrestling?
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be a sick match. And obviously, Bandito did compete for the Warrior Wrestling title in the past. So
he has. He faced Brian Cage. He was Brian Cage's first title defense.
Definitely. I'm sure you're excited to bring him back after all these years.
Great guy and truly an amazing performer. I don't know if you remember back to the original All In 2018. That main event was the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi versus Rey Mysterio, Rey Fenix, and Bandito. And the guy that stole the show was Bandito. Out of those 6 guys, he's truly just supernaturally talented.
For sure. Yeah, you guys got a stacked card. Obviously,
we're excited.
Yeah. And you're featuring another women's match as well. You're featuring Chelsea Green, Skye Blue, and Skye Blue coming out of Chicago. Finally, you get her on Warrior Wrestling. So how excited is that?
Yeah, we've had our eye on her for a while. And, it's interesting. We talked about her a year ago in the 2020 Stadium Series. We just didn't have a spot that fit. And we actually had hoped to get her this past October in Sweet 16, but she was working in AEW Dynamite taping. And so we said, great, well, we'll use you in December. And she has really taken a leap in the last year. She always had the potential. You could always see that there was that possibility with Skye Blue. But in the last 6 months, her speed, her placement in the ring, her sense of comfort between the ropes have just taken an evolutionary leap. And that's when it changed for us from we're keeping our eye on her. We'd like to have her down the road to we need her on our shows. And we're very excited to have her against the returning Chelsea Green, the women's star of Warrior 1 and Warrior 2, who's been a longtime friend of the Warrior promotion and just a great human being. We're thrilled to have her back. And again, WWE's loss is our gain. We will take Chelsea back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's going to be a great match between those two, and I can't wait. That alone just is a match that stands out.
Yeah, we're excited. So we've got the two big women's matches. We've got the two main events, so to speak, that we talked about. We've also got the Warrior Wrestling Lucha title is on the line when Aramis defends against the demonic Flamita. And Flamita, of course, from Ring of Honor and a huge star in Mexico before then, one of the most talented luchadors in the world. He's making his Warrior Wrestling debut. And Aramis has asked for the best competition in the world, and that's what we're finding for him. And this might be the end of that incredible reign that he's had so far. I don't know. We'll see. But that's another one we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. Aramis has just been one of those guys you have to watch every single time he performs. Crazy.
Yeah, it's true. He's truly unbelievable. And then on top of that, speaking of people who have had major success in Mexico, Sam Adonis returns, current star of AAA, and he's going one-on-one with Ring of Honor's Brody King, who's also in New Japan right now. Brody King is a big dude.
Yes.
He's a big dude who can move. He can knock somebody's jaw off with his forearm, or he can fly through the ropes, kind of like Sam Adonis. That's why we're really excited for this booking. We think their styles will go really well hand in hand. As an MMA guy, styles make fights. And we think this is a perfect style combination.
Oh, it is. That's going to be one heck of a match. Sam Adonis and Brody King. It's going to be that you're going to hear loud noises when they go.
There's going to be a lot of thuds as bodies. Yes, that's what I was
thinking. Yeah, definitely. I know. Sam Adonis has been doing a lot of stuff too, man. Down in Mexico, he has his own stable down there.
Yeah, La Empresa is really invading and causing a lot of trouble in AAA. And so he really is on one of his hotter runs. He's going to be on Triple Mania Regia coming up in this week, actually, in a few days, this weekend. I think he might actually be down in Mexico already. And so they're going to have a big match there. They just had a big one on Triple Mania itself back in August. So he's really had a very good run right now in Mexico. And Warrior fans know that he's the real deal here in the States too. So we're excited for this new challenge for Sam.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that this match alone is just worthy of, being excited. But I mean, you guys just keep having it. You have Casey Navarro, against Rocky Romero. So that should be one heck of a match. And Casey Navarro wants to get back on that winning streak, as you kind of displayed in that documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a guy that we see as a full 5-tool player in the future. And he won his first match against Cole Radrick. He had a setback against Dante Martin. He won the GMSI medallion, which allows him to cash in like Money in the Bank. And then he ran into a roadblock in Alex Shelley. Casey's another guy who said, give me the best. I want to prove I can beat the best. Then it will be my time to go after the title. So now he has another one of the best, ROH star and New Japan star Rocky Romero. He's been a multi-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Champ, a standout wrestler in the Junior Heavyweight division, the guy who's competed at the Tokyo Dome numerous times. It was really one of the American faces of New Japan. So Rocky is possibly next in line either to humble KC or to be a hurdle for KC to jump over and jump off of on his way up to shooting for the title.
Yeah, that's a match Casey needs to win if he really wants to show that he's ready for the Warrior Wrestling Championship.
Yep, and that's his goal, is he wants to prove that he's ready and he's able.
Definitely, definitely. And yeah, I mean, I think every time you guys do a Warrior Wrestling show, there's just a great buzz that's created each and every time. So talk about that.
Yeah, that's the goal is we want that buzz, like you just said. We want to put on a good show, but we want it to feel like a special atmosphere. We want the fan fest to be unique. We want the way you feel when you leave to be unique. We want people to feel like they're part of something. And that's something that we really experimented with and added things with and tweaked. So that's our goal. We want it to feel like a wrestling festival. And that's going to be the hope on the 12th too. It'll be a little bit different in a different venue, but we hope the same energy, the same vibe is there.
Yes.
And it's on display for anybody who's new to see.
For sure. And then we also have to talk about the other match. You know, obviously Carlos Romo is going to be on the card against Fuego.
Yes.
Soul.
Fuego, our buddy. So Fuego was actually another one who was originally booked to be in Sweet 16 in October, and then he got hired full-time by AEW, so he had to be at the Dynamite tapings. So he's making it up to us. He's coming out in December. Fuego's a guy that everybody loves and everybody wants to root for, whether you watched him on AEW Dark or you watched his vlog or Sammy's vlog. Anybody that's taken the time to get to know him says, this is a great guy and I really want to see him succeed. Same thing with Carlos Romo. Carlos first came to us at Warrior 3 from Madrid, Spain, where he and A-Kid teamed up against the Lucha Brothers as part of Team White Wolf. White Wolf Wrestling they ran in Madrid. Mm-hmm. Carlos has been in the UK for a couple of years now, really wrestling in that British scene, and he's doing a big tour in the United States. And we've been talking back and forth for a while about his returning. And it was just a given if there was a Warrior show that Carlos was going to be on it. And so we think he and Fuego will mesh really, really well. Yeah. And if people haven't seen Carlos in a while, or if they don't know who he is, get ready because he's impressive.
For sure. And, you know, Fuego del Sol, everybody remembers him winning the contract.
Yes.
You know, getting signed by Tony Khan. So getting that seal of approval. So that's amazing to see him, you know, obviously in a big match like this.
Yeah, you know, again, that first episode of Rampage where he won the contract, as you mentioned, was a special moment. Mm-hmm. And it's really something incredible when there's a performer that you can connect to, that the audience can connect to, and feel real, genuine emotions. Not just, oh, that was a cool move, but, oh, I'm so happy this guy got that contract. I mean, what a great moment for him. And that's why he's a special performer, because he makes people care.
For sure. Yeah, that's another exciting match. And then we'll have to go in a different direction. Maybe something you aren't as enthusiastic about.
I know where this is going.
We got Frank the Clown banned from Warrior Wrestling.
Yeah, well, that I am enthusiastic about.
Yeah.
So as you alluded to, at Warrior Wrestling Sweet 16, we were having an incredible title match until Frank the Clown returned. For those who don't remember, Frank was nearly destroyed by Lance Archer when he threw him off the bleachers in July. And that was the end of Frank as far as we knew. It was the last show we had agreed to let him manage talents on. Frank was done. We had another show in August. Frank wasn't there. It was wonderful. We were ready for a great show in October. And then all of a sudden, at the end of our title match, there was Frank with his goons. And so being in a new venue now, we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to have any of the same shenanigans. So we put it in the contract with the Tinley Park Convention Center. Frank the Clown is banned from the premises. He is not allowed in the parking lot, in the loading dock, anywhere. And Tinley Park staff are aware of that. So we are hoping to have a peaceful and Frank-free show.
I gotcha. Yeah, Frank the Clown is probably one of the lowlights of the Warrior Wrestling. But
I would agree.
He makes a scene. He does get people talking.
You know, it is entertaining to be around Frank the Clown. It's not entertaining to work with Frank the Clown,
right? But
he can be, he's like a car wreck. You can never take your eyes off of him.
For sure. And so, you know, talk also what Warrior Wrestling's plans are in 2022. I know you guys get a lot of feedback from the fans, and, you know, you're going to work towards, you know, maybe bringing another stadium series as well.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, that's a great question right now, because we just had a big Zoom call meeting yesterday, actually, with the Warrior Wrestling internal team talking about 2022. And there's a lot possibly going on. And I can't confirm anything right now. Hopefully by the 12th at the show, I'll be able to announce some exciting things. But I will say this, we are looking at a whole bunch of different directions for Warrior that would be new steps for us. that might expand and grow Warrior Wrestling and make it something different and something bigger. So not everything will happen. Some of those ideas will get pushed to the wayside, but it's going to be an exciting couple months as we figure it out. So that's all I can say for now, but there are big things coming.
Nice. And then, you obviously, I know you watch AEW. So what do you think of some of the stuff they've been doing lately?
Yeah, it's interesting that, they are the promotion that I feel is the closest to my own vision of what I would love wrestling to be, because I feel like every Wednesday night is a party. You put on Dynamite, and for 2 hours, it's live, it's fun, it's almost all in the ring, very little backstage. The audience is on fire. I really like I said before, what they're doing with Dante Martin, who's been stealing the show. I love the way they've worked in Adam Cole and CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. Leo Rush has been great. They really have found their groove at presenting incredible wrestling. And that party atmosphere that they have is similar to what we've been working to cultivate in Warrior Wrestling. And hopefully, there's a similar result as well with people liking our product the way that they do theirs. But I'm a big fan. I think, again, of all the different wrestling flavors out there, I like New Japan for its pseudo kickboxing, realistic, almost shoot style action in the ring. I like AEW for its atmosphere, because gosh, that place looks fun. Every time I watch AEW, I think I want to be there. It's like when I watch college basketball. Nothing in the world seems as fun as college basketball. You watch and you go, gosh, I want to be in that student section. And that's what it feels like watching AEW.
Yeah, definitely. I totally get what you're saying. I feel the same way when I watch AEW. I feel like their product has just been growing tremendously and getting a lot of attention. It's good for the wrestling business. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the other great thing too is that, they allow their talent to take outside bookings. So we have so many AEW talent on our shows because they allow them to do that. We appreciate that greatly, that they have that vision for their wrestlers and that the way that it benefits us at Warrior Wrestling.
Definitely. Is there anybody from there you'd like to bring in that you haven't already or that you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. We love to have Kenny Omega one day when he's healthy. We love to have the Young Bucks, Malachi Black, Miro. There are so many. Obviously, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, if those were possibilities. Their whole roster is stacked with great professional wrestling performers, and that's like a kid in a candy store. So who would you like from AEW? Pretty much everybody.
I got you. Well, CM Punk will be at the C2E2, so maybe you can get a word in with him.
We're gonna try to be there as well. Maybe handing out flyers to all the wrestling fans at C2E2 to get to the show. So we'll see if I can have a conversation with Mr. Phil Brooks.
Definitely, and I think that's what we've seen now. Just professional wrestling take this different turn. It's edgier. It's more updated. And we're seeing basically what's outdated now.
Yeah, well, it feels modern, it feels, and part of this is so much to do with AEW, allowing the wrestlers to be themselves, to cut their own promos. It's not the creative vision of a 75-year-old man dictated through a team of writers, which is what WWE is. And that's why it feels so stale and so same all the time. AEW, Leo Rush speaks in Leo Rush's voice. Bryan Danielson speaks in Bryan Danielson's voice. And they're all real people in the world. So AEW feels like a real product in the world.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely get that. And it feels like a real sport too at times.
Yeah, it does. It really does. In the way it's promoted and the way it's organized, it doesn't feel like a silly soap opera.
Yes. And I think that also what we find out is like a lot of the wrestlers are just building their own media content, right? So they're allowed to do that. And they're getting their own followers, a huge following for that.
Yeah, no, it really is. They're allowed to be their own brand. I remember an interview that John Moxley did shortly after Dynamite started. And he said, you know what I love about AEW? If I want to play in a punk rock band 5 days a week, I can, as long as I'm at work at Wednesday. Like they let me do my own thing. And like you said, that allows people to build their own brands, to develop their own empires, their own interests, to write books, do podcasts. Jericho's touring with Fozzy, right? Leo Rush is making music. People get to do the things they like to do. And that is just such a step up from the way it is for WWE. So Again, and that makes people, people can take dates, Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Dante Martin, Thunder Rosa, they're all on our shows, and there's no second thought about it. So it really is a great model that they have for giving the talent true freedom and ownership of their careers.
Definitely. If you could create your own stable, who would it be for Warrior Wrestling? Like, it doesn't have to be wrestlers that are in Warrior, that were part of Warrior, but they could be brought in.
Wow. What a great question. I am a fan of incredible cutting edge athletic action. So Dante Martin, I'm a fan of. I would bring in Leo Rush. I'd bring in Pac. I'd bring in Malachi Black. I'd add Aramis. I'd create a stable of guys who can just move. Phoenix we'd bring back. That's the kind of wrestling that makes my jaw drop. So that is what I would focus on.
I got you. I'd like to see more like the heelish faction.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. It's interesting. So we talk a lot of shop behind the scenes about what we do and how we do it. And one of the things that, because we only run 4 or 5 times a year, having a lot of heel heat in the shows is not as effective as it would if you ran monthly, or if you had like a weekly TV show. Because if you had a weekly TV show, you can build a lot of heel heat, and people know that their comeuppance is ultimately coming at the pay-per-view or whatever it might be. But if you only run 4 or 5 times a year, you don't want your audience walking out thinking, oh, the good guys just got beat up by the bad guys, and there's a strong heel presence, because you only run a few times a year. You want everybody to leave thrilled every time they do. If we were to run more regularly, I think we definitely experiment more with a greater presence of heel groups and heel dynamics on the show, because I think it does lend itself very well to long-term storytelling. But right now, with kind of once a couple months spot shows, we just don't want it to be too heel dominated. And that's actually a conversation we've had about endings of shows in the past as well. So yeah, I'm a fan of well-told heel heat. I think the long chase of a great babyface against a heel faction is one of the great tropes of wrestling. Right now where we are, we're just not situated to do it though. So if we ever were to do more shows, maybe you'd see some heel dominance.
Yeah, I was just thinking to mind Sociedad Alborica.
Yeah,
I could see them, popping up and getting that heat real quick and hanging out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, those guys are fun. I don't know if you had a chance to check them out yet.
I've heard of them, but I have not been. I've not looked in depth. So you should send me some of their stuff if you've got.
Oh yeah, for sure. They've been doing their thing at AAW and in Galley, so it's been a lot of fun. And I just feel like pro wrestling is just at its point of really innovation. We're just seeing so much, brought in, so many different styles. The talent gets, kind of like to dictate the paces of the matches too, right?
Yeah, well, and again, it lets them do their thing. In when they're stuck on a Monday or a Friday for WWE, they have maybe 6 minutes of TV time, and it's very tightly controlled. On the indies, you got 15 minutes, and you can do whatever the heck you want for the most part. Some promoters are more constrictive than others, but we tell our talent, you're the ones that know what you're doing. Here's the finish. Go out there and kill it.
Definitely. And you guys always put on a nice pre-show too. So everybody check that out. A lot of up and coming talent as well.
And that's actually another thing we talked about at our internal meeting this week is formalizing that a little bit more and being able to do more to feature up and coming talent. So yeah, that's something we believe in very deeply as well.
Yeah, for sure. I know you've seen Trevor Outlaw. He's been on a couple Warrior shows. He's getting a lot of recognition now. Yeah,
he's great. He really is. Although he is associating himself with Frank the Clown, but he's a really good dude. Trevor actually suffered an ACL tear about a week and a half ago. So he is out of action, out of commission wrestling for a while, but he's got an incredibly bright future. So we're really excited for Trevor.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what, Warrior Wrestling, you guys have been doing. You've been trying to display some of that younger talent as well as bringing these great veterans,
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the goal, is to bring in the big names and to bring up the names you might not know yet.
Definitely. And just talk about the warriorwrestling.net, how people can buy tickets. You have the VIP Fan Fest, so let everybody know.
Yeah, so that's the big hub, warriorwrestling.net. Tickets, information, everything you possibly need is up there, links to merchandise, etc. And as you mentioned, the Fan Fest is one of the hallmarks of what we do at Warrior Wrestling. So it's 90 minutes before the show. You get to meet every single wrestler, get their autograph, take a picture with them. You can buy merch, you can buy posters, you can buy whatever. It's $100, which sounds like a lot, until you realize it's about $5 an autograph for Will Ospreay and Trey Miguel and Blake Christian and Thunder Rosa, etc. And that's where the party really happens. That's where everybody's hanging out, meeting the talent, and that's what makes Warrior special. So if you love meeting talent, check out the Warrior Wrestling Fan Fest. All the information's at warriorwrestling.net. You can follow us on socials at Warrior Wrestling, no vowels in wrestling, WRSTLNG. And yeah, check it out. Sunday, 12/12, Tinley Park, Illinois, right on the highway, I-80 in Harlem. You can get to it from anywhere in the Midwest. It's literally abutting I-80. So that's not a hard drive anywhere. There's a hotel attached to the building. Stay for the night if you're coming from out of town. And a lot of great restaurants and bars in the area. So we're looking forward to seeing a lot of Midwest wrestling fans in Tinley Park on Sunday the 12th.
Well, Steve, I appreciate you again being on Pro Wrestling Enforcer. We'll be, at Warrior Wrestling as well, providing some content for our fans. And yeah, check it out. Warrior Wrestling is going to be, I'll tell you, it's been one of the biggest highlights of my career, man, so far is covering your events, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly. It's the highlight of what we do that people that people love what we put out there. I've used the analogy before. We're just kids in a sandbox or on a beach building sandcastles, and we're telling, do you guys like our sandcastle? People are like, we love your sandcastle. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to put together great performers and put on great shows. So, so much of that comes from the energy. So Sean, bring the energy. Everybody else, bring your energy, and let's make it an awesome show.
For sure. Everybody check out Warrior Wrestling 17. And also you can check it out. Is this one going to be on broadcasted on the live pay-per-view?
On Fight TV. Yes,
Fight
sir.
TV. Yes. So everybody check it out on Fight TV if you can't be there. There's quite a few people I know that do watch it on Fight TV.
Yeah. So we're excited.
Yeah. And they want to go one day. So hopefully they'll have a chance to. And again, Steve, have a wonderful night. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks, Sean. Good to talk to you. Take care, bud.
Chicago wrestling fans, your attention, please. Sunday, December 12th in Tinley Park. See Will Ospreay battle Trey Miguel and Blake Christian in a triple threat match. Thunder Rosa tangles with Mercedes Martinez. Dante Martin squares off with Bandito. Rocky Romero. Lucha Libre action. And more live. Meet every star and get their autograph in the Fan Fest. For tickets and more information, visit warriorwrestling.com.